Hey guys, how's it going? Shinobi here, and today I'm going to talk about World of Warcraft, specifically the things that I have linked in the description down below. In the background, you're just going to see random footage, maybe of me doing PvP or something like that, or farming, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't really have anything to do with this particular video. I want to talk about the things that I put in the description below, which is a thing that Blizzard posted on their website, on their World of Warcraft website, talking about PvP gear in patch 5.2 and beyond. They pretty much have been analyzing PvP, which I'm so glad that they are. First off, I mean, I have mixed opinions on everything they're doing, and you probably will as well, so I want to hear your opinions and thoughts down below. So make sure you go and read all the patch notes. I'm not going to tell you everything that's on there because this video would take forever. However, I'm going to talk about some of the most key things that have been pretty much going to be going on, some of my opinions about it, and everything like that. Now, before we get into all of that, in my opinion, over the years, I feel PvP has kind of just gone downhill. Back in the day of doing Burning Crusade, or even in vanilla, PvP was so exciting and so fun, and it felt like it was more skill based back then. Nowadays, it's all about cooldowns, who has the better gear, and some RNG factors. But skill does still play a factor. Don't get me wrong there. I don't want to sound like I'm raging or anything like that. I feel that I'm a pretty good player, and I feel that I do pretty well in PvP, probably much of you do as well. So. However, that's kind of what I'm talking about, is the fact that in a game where there's PvP involved, and I've talked about this in a video before, you look at all kinds of games that have player versus player interaction. Look at first-person shooters. Look at Diablo 2. The list goes on. What do those games have that World of Warcraft doesn't have? Well, a perfect balance would be pretty much the best way. Now, obviously, every game can't be balanced perfectly. I mean, even the games that I listed aren't exactly perfectly balanced, but World of Warcraft has been lacking in balance for quite some time. So what did Blizzard do in the past to try and balance things out? Well, they gave every class pretty much the same abilities. Almost every class has a stun. Almost every class has a way to reduce healing. Almost every class has some kind of CC that isn't a stun. It's pretty much what they've been doing over the past. Now, what this exact patch talks about is they talk about what the problems have been in the past for PvP. If you wanted to, say you all of a sudden just want to go for high rating and try and get the best gear possible and everything like that, what kind of challenges do you go up against when you're trying to do something like that? If you start in the beginning of expansion when everybody else does, you get a good PvP team going, you may have a pretty easy time on getting up to 2200 to get the best gear and then compete against the best players in the world. However, what about people that just picked up the expansion midway? Now they're at a huge disadvantage, because not only do they have to take a lot of time to catch up to everybody, but also those players that have the better gear already are just smashing them. And in my opinion, World of Warcraft is a very gear-based game, and it has been for quite some time. So that's kind of where I'm coming from in this. And then you have later in the season, maybe the expansion's about to end soon, you're going to try and get a title or something like that, or you're going to try and compete against the top players. Not only do you have to get all that gear, the pro players that have already been smashing everybody are going to smash you because you have not as good gear as them, and you spend so many weeks just trying to catch up to people. And I think Blizzard has pretty much seen that as a problem. So what they've decided to do is a couple of things. One thing, which is the main thing here, the 2200 rating requirement will be removed from PvP gear. What this pretty much means is there are multiple ways of getting different tiers of PvP gear now. The Dreadful Gladiator gear can be crafted. The Malevolent gear, including the weapons, will be purchased with Honor, so anybody can farm Honor. It's pretty easy. The new tier of PvP items, the Tyrannical Gladiators gear, will be purchased with Conquest points. Tyrannical Gladiator gear can be purchased for Honor after you get 27,000 Conquest points. Now, if you're wondering how long it takes to get 27,000 Conquest points, let's say you get 1,600 Conquest points per week. It'll take you about 16 weeks to achieve something like that. I can just do the real calculation once here again, make sure I got all my facts straight. And let me divide that up. And yeah, it's about 17 weeks almost. So that's pretty much how that goes. Then you have the next tier up, which is going to be the Elite Tyrannical Gladiators gear, which can only be purchased with Conquest points instead of Honor after you reach 2,700 Conquest points. So 16 weeks after the season has started, or after the gear has been released, if you get those Conquest points throughout that season, then 27,000, then you can start earning that stuff too. And I've been having some discussions with some people, different people that are high-rated players, and a lot of players seem to be really upset at the fact that, oh no, they're taking away the 2200 rating thing from PvP gear. So now, theoretically, someone that's not quite as good as a professional player can end up eventually getting the same gear as you. Now, if you put it in perspective, let's say you're in a rated battleground team and you're pretty high rated and you get about 3,000 conquest points per week because your cap is higher. It would take you about 8 weeks to get to that point where you can start getting the Elite Tyrannical Gladiators gear, whereas it's going to take 16 weeks for someone that's lower rating, like a 1600 player, which is not quite as good as the higher up people. Pretty much that means that players will eventually be able to get the same gear later on in the season. Depending on how long you play, you'll eventually get the same gear. Everybody will have the same gear near the end of the season. That's pretty much what Blizzard's doing. Now, the problem with that a lot of people have been complaining about is a lot of people say, well, my reward for being a better player is being able to get that better gear, to be able to get that 2200 gear, which I can see where people are coming from there. But in my opinion, if you're a professional World of Warcraft PvPer, you should have satisfaction in not only just getting that gear, but beating people constantly, fighting people in higher rankings. And that's another thing too. A lot of these 2200 players that claim they are such amazing players, they just sit on that 2200 rating just so they can get all that 2200 gear. Not a lot of them try to risk it and go up higher up to the 2800s, 2600, 2900 to try and be some of the top people in the world. And there are a lot of people that do that, try and go to be the top in the world. For me personally, if I do something like PvP, I'm going to go all out. I'm not going to just shoot for midway. I'm not going to shoot for, I made it to 2200, I'm going to stop right here. No, I'm going to shoot for the top. I'm going to try to get to the point where I get an invitation to BlizzCon to try and go PvP and show that I'm the best in the world. That's, to me personally, what I feel gives me satisfaction. Let's put it into this kind of term right here. If you say that the noob players and the pro players all get the same gear eventually, it takes longer for the noob players, then do you think that's a problem? Do you think does that bother you? Let me know in the comments down below what your opinions are on all of this. Personally, I see it like this. If you go play Call of Duty, do you complain that all the players have the same weapons as you? No, you don't, because the separation between a good player and a great player is skill. It has been and always will be skill. If you have more skill than the other person you're against, but he has the same items as you do, but he has less skill than you, then you're going to consistently win. That is the point of it. When I do PvP, I want to win. I want to win constantly. And how do I make sure I do that? I practice. I get better. I try to be a better PvPer. I try to be a better gamer in general. And I don't just hope for things like gear to carry me. I think that's stupid to, really just think, well, I got all this gear, so I can pretty much just sit back and relax and just close my eyes while I beat these noobs. Because literally the gear advantage is a pretty big advantage, especially in a game like World of Warcraft. So those are some of my opinions on all of this. They're doing some stuff to MMR as well. Just go read the article. Be changing up some stuff, making some class changes. I'll put the links down below. You can go check them out yourself. But that's just kind of the way that I feel about all of this, is that even though they are, doing this, what is the advantage at the end of the day by letting newbier players get this better gear? Well, it's going to entice more people to want a PvP, which means less queue times, which means more battles. It means more close battles. Like, when you're fighting a 3 versus 3 match, You're going to have more close battles, not just completely stomp the other team because your gear is just way better. I think it should be more balanced, and I think if Blizzard truly does want to balance World of Warcraft in PvP, I think this is a correct step towards doing that. Let me know your comments down below. So go and check that out. Read the whole thing. There's some things in there that I didn't talk about in this particular video. Hope you did enjoy this video. I'm really curious to see your comments down below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and all that stuff. It does help me out. Following my Facebook and Twitter is also in my description down below as well. I like to have these conversations from time to time just to kind of interact with you guys and see what your opinions are on everything. I mean, I don't have the best opinion in the world. I mean, an opinion is an opinion. It's not a fact. However, for me personally, to sum it all up, I feel like I don't care. Give them the same gear that we get. At the end of the day, I'm still going to win, I'm still going to get higher rating, and I'm still going to have more fun because I'm a better player than someone that's a really newbie player. Not trying to say I'm the best player in the world, but just saying, if that's your argument, if your argument is, well, I'm a really good player that's 2200, and that sucks that they get the same gear that I do eventually, which takes them an extra 2 months longer than it would take you, just think about it that way, that everybody's going to be in the same gear. Okay, cool. You have the same advantage that I do. However, I have a more advantage than you because I'm better than you are. That's how PvP games should be based. Purely off of skill. Everything should be balanced, and then skill is what takes you to the next level. Until next time, I'm Shinobi. Thanks for watching.